stop for just a second. Look around you, wherever you are right now. Is there a roof over your head? A light in the room? Something to eat in your kitchen? A phone or computer in your hand? Then you already have more than many people ever will. And no, this isn't about guilt. It's about perspective. We spend so much of our lives chasing more. A better job, a nicer apartment, a faster phone, a different version of ourselves. We're constantly reaching, but rarely stopping to realize how far we've already come. You see, gratitude doesn't just make you feel good. It changes your brain. It rewires the way you see your world, because the more you look for things to appreciate, the more you find. But here's the thing. Being thankful doesn't come naturally to most of us, especially in a world that tells us we're never enough, that we need to be faster, richer, smarter, more productive. So we forget. We forget that the simplest things are actually the biggest blessings, like waking up without pain, or having someone who texts you just to ask how you're doing, or having a quiet moment to breathe without rushing. These moments pass by unnoticed until we lose them, and suddenly they become everything. What if we didn't wait for a crisis to appreciate what we have? What if we trained our minds to see abundance, even in the middle of a difficult day? That's what today's message is about. Slowing down, looking around, and remembering that what you have right now might be exactly what you once hoped for. Think about that for a second. The version of you 5 years ago might look at your life today and say, "Wow, we made it." Even if it's not perfect, even if you're still growing, that version of you would be proud. And that's the power of gratitude. It shifts the focus away from what's missing and toward what's already here. In this video, we're going to go deeper into what it means to live with thankfulness, not just as a holiday feeling, but as a daily practice that transforms how you experience everything. Because when you start from gratitude, everything changes. Your energy, your confidence, your peace. I'll show you how to reconnect with the present moment so you can stop waiting for happiness and start noticing the joy that's already around you. Let's take this one breath at a time. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to postpone joy? We tell ourselves, "I'll be happy when I get that job, when I move to a better place, when I finally fix everything." And in doing that, we unknowingly place happiness somewhere in the future, out of reach. But the truth is, joy doesn't live in the future. It lives in the now, and gratitude is what brings it into focus. There's a quiet kind of power in learning how to be present with what you have, even if it's not everything you want. Not because you've given up on your dreams, but because you've learned to recognize value in the moment you're already living. Think about the last time you slowed down enough to notice something small. A warm cup of coffee, the sound of rain, the softness of your bed at night. These are not grand achievements. They're not Instagram-worthy milestones, but they're real. They're grounding. They remind you that not everything needs to be bigger or better to be meaningful. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more, get more, be more, it's almost rebellious to say, "This is enough for now, and I'm grateful for it." That doesn't mean you stop growing. Gratitude doesn't kill ambition. In fact, it fuels it in a much healthier way. Because when you start from a place of appreciation, your goals aren't rooted in lack. They're built on a foundation of already having enough. And from that place, every step forward feels lighter. You're no longer running away from what you don't like. You're moving toward what excites you, grounded in the belief that your life is already full of value. The present moment is where your power lives. It's the only place where change can begin, where peace can settle in, where joy can surprise you. So take a breath, look around, and ask yourself not what's missing, but what's already here that deserves your thanks. Sometimes gratitude is quiet. It doesn't come with fireworks or dramatic breakthroughs. It whispers softly, "You're okay. You're safe. You have enough for this moment." Other times, it sneaks up on you when you least expect it, like in a memory, a smile from a stranger, or the way the sunlight hits the floor in your room. That's the beauty of living in gratitude. It turns ordinary moments into something sacred. It teaches you that you don't need everything to feel something. And when you begin to live like that, life stops being a race. You stop chasing every goal like it's the answer to your happiness. Instead, your achievements become a celebration, not a solution. Gratitude slows the rush. It reminds you to stop measuring your worth by how much you've done, and instead measure your days by how deeply you've lived them. Because at the end of the day, no one remembers the checklist. They remember the laughter, the peace, the sense of presence you carried into a room. And all of that begins with noticing what you already have and letting that be enough for now. Let's take that energy into the next part, where we'll talk about how gratitude can be a powerful guide even in tough times, when things aren't going your way, and yet somehow, there's still something to be thankful for. Gratitude sounds easy when life is going well, when things are calm, when you feel supported. But what about when nothing's working? When plans fall apart, when people disappoint you, when you feel like you're barely holding it together? This is where gratitude becomes more than just a nice idea. It becomes a mindset, a lifeline. It's not about ignoring your problems. It's not pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's about widening your lens, seeing the full picture. Because even in struggle, there are small moments of grace. A friend who checks in, a stranger who smiles, the fact that you woke up and have another chance. Pain and gratitude can exist in the same space. One doesn't cancel out the other. In fact, some of the most grateful people you'll ever meet are the ones who have suffered the most. Why? Because they've learned not to take anything for granted. They've seen how fragile life is and how precious small joys can be. It's easy to say, "I'm thankful," when things are going your way. But real growth happens when you can still say it through tears, when you whisper it in the middle of uncertainty. Sometimes, just saying thank you is enough. Not because your situation is perfect, but because you're choosing to stay soft, to stay open, to stay human. Gratitude doesn't erase your pain. It reminds you that your pain isn't the whole story. It helps you see what's also true, that even now, there are things worth holding on to, that even here, there's something worth honoring. Maybe it's your strength. Maybe it's your resilience. Maybe it's the quiet hope that things will get better, even if you don't know how yet. This is what it means to carry gratitude into hard places, not to minimize your struggles, but to anchor you through them. And when you do that, you start to realize something important. gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it changes what you're capable of surviving. That shift in perspective might be subtle, but it's powerful. And it has the ability to turn even your darkest seasons into moments of deep inner clarity. So no matter where you are in your life right now, whether you're thriving or just getting by, there's space for gratitude. There's space for a deep breath, a small thank you, and the steady belief that you're not starting from nothing. You're starting from everything you've already made it through. Gratitude isn't just about what you notice, it's about how you live. It shows up in the way you speak to others, in the way you respond to challenges, in how present you are during moments that used to slip by unnoticed. Because when you start to live in a state of thankfulness, something shifts. You become more aware, more grounded, less reactive. Life stops feeling like a series of demands and starts feeling like a series of gifts. Even the hard moments become easier to hold. Have you ever met someone who radiates peace? Not because their life is perfect, but because they've trained themselves to see the good no matter what? That's what gratitude can do. It creates emotional strength. Not the kind that hides pain or avoids difficulty, but the kind that holds both joy and sorrow with equal honesty. You might notice that you start listening more, complaining less, laughing easier. You'll catch yourself being more forgiving, with others and with yourself. Because a thankful heart doesn't rush to judgment. It knows that everything we're carrying is heavier than it looks. And the beautiful thing? Gratitude is contagious. When you express it out loud to a friend, a family member, a coworker, you give others permission to do the same. You start to build a culture of appreciation. And slowly, your environment begins to reflect that energy back to you. This is how gratitude moves from being an idea to being a way of life. Not through grand gestures, but through quiet, consistent awareness. Like saying thank you more often, even for small things. Like writing down one good thing before bed. Like pausing to breathe before reacting. These small habits start to shift your focus away from what's lacking and toward what's working. And when that becomes your default lens, life starts to feel more abundant, even if nothing on the outside has changed. You don't need a perfect life to live with a grateful spirit. You just need the willingness to look for beauty, even in the middle of ordinary days. Because those ordinary days, they're your real life. And they're worth being thankful for. Sometimes the most transformative change doesn't come from a breakthrough, but from a small realization. I already have enough to feel peace today. That doesn't mean every day is easy. It doesn't mean you won't wish for more. But when you build a life that centers gratitude, even your waiting feels different, less desperate, more trusting. You realize that even in the middle of uncertainty, there's still something steady inside you, your awareness of what's good. And with that awareness, you start to carry yourself differently. You show up to conversations with more patience. You handle stress with more softness. You give yourself more grace. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being real, with yourself and with life, and choosing in that realness to still see something worth holding on to. That's where thankfulness lives. Not in the big, loud highlight moments, but in the quiet, steady commitment to see life through a softer lens. And over time, that choice becomes your superpower. You've made it all the way here, and that alone is something to be thankful for, because taking time to reflect, to pause, to listen deeply, that's not something we often allow ourselves in a busy world. But gratitude asks us to pause. It asks us to come home to ourselves, to slow down just enough to feel what's actually true, not what's loud, not what's urgent, but what's real. And what's real is this: you are already surrounded by things worth appreciating. Maybe it's the people who show up for you. Maybe it's your health, your mind, your ability to learn. Maybe it's the fact that you keep going, even when no one sees the effort. Those are victories. Quiet ones, but powerful. And when you start seeing life through that lens, you become someone who carries light. You become someone who doesn't need everything to be perfect in order to feel peace. You start creating joy, not chasing it. You begin walking through your life with more intention, more softness, more strength. This isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's about learning how to hold beauty and pain at the same time and still choose gratitude. You have that choice every day. So take one moment right now and think of one thing, just one, that you're thankful for. Don't overthink it. Let it be small. Now, let it grow. Because gratitude, when practiced consistently, becomes more than a feeling. It becomes a foundation. One that supports you through every season, every success, every setback. Thank you for being here, for listening, for opening your heart. And if this message resonated with you, if it reminded you of something you'd forgotten, then I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone you care about. This isn't just a conversation. It's a way of living. This is Charlotte, and you're watching Speak Power Daily. Keep noticing the good. Keep choosing gratitude. And above all, keep showing up for your life, because it's worth it.